Hey everybody, Black Klansman review I'm not gonna upload just because no matter how hard I try, I can't get away from politics, and I try to keep that out of my videos as much as possible. Quick synopsis: fine movie, actually pretty good, until the last 2 minutes when Spike Lee has to throw in some BS political propaganda rivaling that in this to Salsa, so that kind of sours the mood. So honestly, a good movie. I'm actually being honest. Go see it. Just be prepared to maybe leave after the proverbial mic drop moment. That's it. Moving on to this one. And Mile 22, yeah, it's worse. It's not very good. Mile 22 is Mark Wahlberg's basically 16 blocks. If you don't know, it's an escort mission from point A to point B, and you meet some characters along the way. You're supposed to build a connection between them. They're actually supposed to build a chemistry with each other, so that way we feel the connection in the dire moments, in the heat. The best way to describe this movie is, imagine if you're playing the second act of a Call of Duty game. Because this movie feels like a second act of a trilogy. Because you start off with just a raid on a house, basically. We got a bunch of characters we don't know. Like, we wouldn't even know, like, Mark Wahlberg is a main character if he wasn't Mark Wahlberg. Because he just seems like an overhead watcher sniper. You would think the female leading this, Alice, she would be more important than the rest. But it's just, yeah. So it starts off that way, and it tries to gear itself towards the action style. It's just going to go for the action once it gets to the point. And they try to make Mark Wahlberg's character like a savant or something like that. Like he's a crazy genius, and he's constantly, like, flicking himself with a rubber band because he's thinking too fast. And I know the concept that you might think too fast sometimes and not properly, relate what you're trying to say, and I've done that numerous times in these videos. But it's so inconsistent, and actually his tics seem very jarring. Someone who's very OCD and very heavy on the left brain would not, in fact, react a lot to their right side of the brain and actually be that creative with insults and go into a bit more degradation that he loves to do with other people. It comes with a weird superiority complex he seems to have, which is a running joke. And it's funny once or twice, but after a while it gets kind of old, and it seems like it's very cutting from the mood. And the whole point of this movie really doesn't have much of a point. The reason why I said it's a second act of a trilogy is the fact that the movie leaves off, I couldn't even say sequel baiting, it just leaves unfinished. Like, imagine, if you will, that scene from The Following, where Joe, in season 3, so slight spoiler for that, when Joe gets captured, he's arrested and everything, and he's being actually executed by the government, and he dies, but then we still have, and it just stops there. It doesn't show what happens afterwards with all of his followers. They're already preset group that's already out there, so there's a lot of questions left unanswered, and you need to see how it's resolved because you feel incomplete. This movie gives you the same feeling because, in the end, it's just what seems like a setup to another movie. It's an old term known as sequel baiting, which I thought we got past of, Long gone are the days of Buckaroo Banzai and the Super Mario Bros. Movie where we swear we're getting a sequel. The trick to a sequel, as Deadpool has shown, is just make a good standalone movie. And if it's good, you leave some room in there for some material to build upon. Case in point, I just got done playing Bravely Seconds, and I'll talk about that more on a later day. But the game builds upon the previous one, but standalone, they're both completely fine games. In fact, I still say the first one's better, but they're both good because you can enjoy them as their own. This film doesn't really have that. The action, we've seen it all before. And it's very jarring action because when it's Lee's character, the Asian guy, the traitor, if you will, he basically has smooth choreography for the most part. There's light cutting here or there, mostly for different angle shots, but you can see his fight developing. You see long strands of combat, you see a couple of good blows, much in the way of like The Raid or The Raid Redemption. But when Mark Wahlberg's on scene, obviously Mark Wahlberg is not a martial artist in any way, shape, or form, or even, I would say, a stunt fighter for the most part. But they're cutting. It's like, okay, I'm going to go from arm lock A, then we're going to cut, now I'm going to have you in a twist here, now I'm going to have a knife to your throat here, and then you're going to spin them. It seems very disconnecting. So it's tough to really get in when you're just constantly cutting from one to the next. It was actually kind of giving me a bit of a headache. I haven't seen that many bad, quick edits since Mark Wahlberg's last movie I saw him in, Transformers. Currently, now the second highest dislike bar I've seen in a while. But, it is what it is. So, I guess at the end of the day, it comes down to this. Is it an enjoyable popcorn flick where one could turn their brain off and actually just enjoy the action? And sadly, no. Much in the way I did say it was like a Call of Duty game, it is. You go in point A, you shoot some guys, you move, another shoot some guys, and maybe you might have like a quick time event where you get into like a hand-to-hand combat scene, and that's it. There's nothing, spectacular besides the martial art bits we get with Lee's character. But Mark Wahlberg doesn't really have much of a standout moment. In fact, he almost seems like a superfluous character, and there's really no main lead, which the point of this movie is to take place in modern day, to the point where Overwatch has a whole bunch of novelty bobblehead presidents, and it's like the last, I want to say 10. So there actually is a Barack Obama bobblehead next to a President Trump bobblehead, and it's kind of funny watching them just both nod their heads while all this is going on. But other than that, I mean, honestly, those bobbleheads have more character than the rest of these guys, because it looked like they wanted to give him character. It looks like there was character already there, but there wasn't. There was no connection. So when they start dying, we feel nothing. Like an entire squad gets mowed down, and we're supposed to take it like it's a big event. But we've seen these types of movies. We've seen Black Hawk Down. We've seen Lone Survivor. We've seen all this stuff where we're actually supposed to build a connection to the character, so when they die, we feel something. Slight spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen Kamen Rider Build, but previously they just had a character die, Kazamine, otherwise known as Kamen Rider Grease. He's had 47 episodes and not even really, he came in halfway, to build his character, to establish his connection with everybody else, and then when he finally died, sadly, his actual spirit was actually departed and everyone had the reaction and you felt some sadness. Here, they're trying to portray some sadness, but you don't really get that connection. So, the popcornness doesn't even work. And like The Last Stand I said, there's this guy, he does his last stand, he's all like dead basically. He's got his gun and he's trying to hold him off and he gets picked off one by one. If we liked the guy or something, it would be powerful, but really it's just good on you, man, but there's no connection. And that's the real problem with this movie. You don't feel connected to the characters. That's why I can't be mad, I can't be happy. It's just there, I saw it. You left me incomplete. So, do I recommend this movie? Like I said, it's not good as a standalone. It's not a good popcorn flick. Doesn't really have much in the way of actual variety. If you want to go see a movie like this, I definitely highly recommend 16 Blocks. Or if you want to see something with a bit more just action, over-the-top gunplay and martial arts that, is all about chasing from one location to the next and the sensation of being hunted, I would say look up Judge Dredd, the new one, new from 2014, or The Raid or The Raid Redemption, both of which have a lot of more feel into them and a lot more impact when they're being chased. Now, granted, in this one, they're moving from, location A to B, and it's horizontal, and them, it's vertical, but you still feel the sense of chase and dread, and the fight scenes are a lot better. So, yeah, Mile 22, nothing I can really write home about. I do have a little plan for you guys, because I have noticed we have reached over 50 subscribers. So, that actually is kind of a big deal for me, because I haven't, I didn't make this planning to get any subscribers. I just did it because I like ranting and raving. So, to those of you who watch my videos, and to those of you who subscribed, thank you. I got a little video I'm currently writing up and planning to shoot it sometime this week. So, you should either have it before or right after the Happy Time Murder review. Yeah, that's next week. I get to watch Sesame Street Murder. I've been seeing that trailer for about 5 months at this point, so I'm tired of seeing that whole rotten cotton joke or the ecstasy joke. It's with Melissa McCarthy. Can it be good? Maybe. Depends how it's played off. So, yeah. So next time, guys, it'll either be the 50 subscriber video I got going or the Happy Time Murders. Until then, as always, I'm Kevin Riley signing off, and I'll see you all next time. Later.